Hey, this is Gabe. Welcome back to another video. In this video, we are going to be making a charcuterie board. Never have made one before, nor have I ever made a cutting board before. So this is a learning experience for both of us. I have some basic dimensions here I want to work with. 25 inches lengthwise, 15 inches widthwise, and unlike many that you've probably seen online, my center board is going to be tapered, and I'm only going to bring that in about an inch on our, 3/4 of an inch on each side. So I'm starting out with 4 inches here, and I'm going to bring it in 1.5 inches to the other end over here at the thinnest point. So in order to do this, to get that taper correct for the length of 25 inches, I'm going to have to make a couple of jigs, actually just one jig. The jig we're going to make for this part is we're just going to make a tapering jig. Never had one before, never done tapers. When I have in the past, I've always freehand cut them, but because of the nature of this right here. Oh, also, I also want to add in a couple of butterfly keys, which something I haven't seen either. It's probably out there, but I haven't seen it done in a tapering nature. So anyway, that should add a nice visual element. The sides are going to be maple, the center is going to be walnut, and for the keys, I think I'm going to be using Purpleheart. So that should be a nice contrast of all three woods. So first things first, I have this marked out at 26 inches from each side right here on that line. And if I feel the end here, I know that that is touching, so that's nice and even. Okay, being that this is only a temporary jig, not a jig that I plan on reusing, I have a small piece of scrap right here on the end as a spacer for 3/4 of an inch to pen blank. And instead of putting a hinge or anything right here, wasting all that time, I am just going to brad nail this together.
So I just want to flip that around, do the same thing on the other side, just for stability.
Now, I want to keep this end together right here, and on this back side, I want to use that pen blank to also keep it parallel. Oops. To keep this parallel, because it's not actually parallel right there. The wood, there's a little bend in it. So I'm going to put a clamp on that so that it's nice and parallel, and then I'm going to put a shoe on the end. Okay, you can see what that looks like. And before I put the clamp on, I made sure I was flush with the table saw, so that now all I have to do is cut a piece of scrap on the end, and this will be the hook for that piece of wood when I run it through the table saw. Okay, and just to increase that safety, I put a piece of scrap wood here in the middle. I just brad nailed on both sides. On the end, you can see how that is on there, and that is the hook that we're going to need to push those panels through. So instead of just relying on this right here, which is good, I could also rely on this to ensure I'm keeping my fingers away from the blade. So, you know, not a bad option. Just take a couple extra seconds to do that. And then with that, we can go ahead and get started on our panel cutting. Okay, so I have a line here marked at 25 inches for this piece of walnut, black walnut. And one tip for woodworking is use one tape measure that's easy to read. So for me, this one's really nice, durable, simple, easy to read, nice and clear. And stay with using one tape measure through the whole project. Don't leave one tape measure someplace else and bounce around back and forth. Too much of a chance for error. So anyway, 25 inches long from the line on this side of the line. Okay, this is a piece of maple I bought at a garage sale. This is a pretty wide piece, although it is two pieces glued together. You can see a glue line right here. I still like the way this looks. I'm going to use, I think it's 4.5 inches on each side. No, 5.5 inches on each side away from that glue line. So anyway, or 5.25 inches. I want to cut out that glue line right there. But here the thing is, because this was a used piece of wood, when I look at the back, you can see how it's pretty tore up right here. And this was just looked like a varnish on it. So I want to take this through the planer, plane both sides, so I can have this looking like a nice fresh piece of wood. And then I also want to do the same thing with this and get this down to the same thickness as this. So I'll do that real quick next. Okay, so now I just want to rip this where the seam is right here real quick. All right, I've got my lines drawn out, and I am going to cut my walnut here. As you can see, I've got long lines here from here all the way to the end of the joints. That's 3/4 inch that's going to go in. Same thing with the back. I've got 3/4 inch right here on each side. That's going to get tucked in this way, and it's going to tuck in that way, and it should line everything up vertically. Okay, right here, in order to get this other 3/4 inch section tapered off of there where it's balanced, I'm taking a piece of scrap 3/4 inch zebra wood. I'm putting that here where that little lip is. Just going to clamp that in place. And I still have a little bit of room left on that heel. Back up if you can see that. Okay, so you can see how much room there is on that heel. I've got probably about 1/8 inch to bite on that right there. So it's not a lot, but it's enough for me to work with. All right, so that worked out pretty good. I am about 13 1/4 inches versus 15. 13 3/4. 13 3/4, sorry. So 1 1/4 shy of where I want to be, but that's okay. I think I will just add some more strips on the end on each side to balance it out. Okay, we're back. It's been a couple days since I last worked on this, and yesterday I took the day drawing out the design and then finalizing the design today. I've got the whole length is, like I said before, is 25 inches by 15 inches wide. I started my bends using a piece of veneer, which was actually an offcut from this, which is about, I don't know, 1/4 of a millimeter thick, so it was nice and flexible. I've got it to here to this line, which is 6 inches from here to here, and vice versa, back and forth, all the way so, and a 3/4 inch gap all the way around. So I'm able to get a nice graceful bend. I wanted a flat spot in the middle on each side, and that's about 5 inches. The handle is about 6 inches long. The overall length is from here, I think, is about 19. Overall length is 25 by 15 inches wide total. So I did have to cut off these over here because they were just peeking too far through. This one didn't, so we're okay with that one. I did add little extras on the side to make up that width. These side pieces will not get the butterfly key or bow tie, as some people refer to them as. So I've got my Purpleheart already at the table saw, and I've just got a couple of cauls that I ripped from some 2x4s. I've got tape on 3 sides except for the top or the bottom, depending on where it's at. So I've got tape here, tape here, tape here, and the tape will keep the wood glue from sticking. So I've got cauls underneath on both sides. Cauls will go on top like that, and then we'll just clamp it together as you would expect. So we'll go ahead and cut our butterfly keys next. Okay, at the table saw, I have my 0 clearance blade insert that I've rotated around 15 degrees for 0 clearance dovetails or butterfly keys rather. This is a blank about 4 inches long, 7/8 of an inch wide, almost 2 inches tall, and I'm going to be just doing these in one size, not two. So I have, like I said, my blades raised 7/8 of an inch high. I'm going to take one pass first, and I should be close to right there on that edge. So after I make the first pass, then I'm going to rotate it over and then make another pass, and then I'll see how high I need to adjust the blade in order to get that perfect V groove on the inside. And I'm doing it this way because I tried doing it with a smaller piece and it didn't work out very well, so this way is safer. Okay, that cut out pretty good. I just want to clean up a little bit over here with the chisel on the inside groove. And other than that, I think we are in business. The only one drawback is this is all end grain showing versus long grain. I would have liked to do it in long grain, but I didn't have a long enough of a blade in order to do that, to cut that, or excuse me, long enough of a blank to cut that safely. So anyway, this will still work. It will just give it a nice dimension with that grain showing. Being that this is only for looks, it's not actually there for strength, or it's not tying the pieces together. So this will still work out very nice. Okay, I've got my sacrificial jig attached here. This is the pieces I'm going to be cutting out for my dovetails that we cut out here like this, that I've just traced over like that. Now I put lines all the way through to the back side, but I didn't draw that out there yet. To get these lines accurately placed, I used a straight edge like this against where the mark is here, and then just mark that like that. So you can see how that looks. Easy way, always keep one of these, I always keep it attached to on my fence, on my table saw. So on this right here, this is 90, this is 15, corresponding to this one here. Now, right here on the blade, this is where I am zeroed. So I want to mark or bring this right up that I would just want to leave a little bit of that lead line right there for my first pass, just to be sure. And I'm holding it with both hands, and make sure you keep your thumb way away from that cut line on the back side of that. So now I want to take this dovetail or butterfly key all the way up against that groove, like that right there, and then trace the opposite side. Now that should fit in there real nice. All I got to do is just pare down with a chisel, and so we'll see how that looks. All right, we're back. It's been a long process getting to this point. I got my dovetails cut. A lot of work fine-tuning these off camera. I labeled each one of these 1 through 4 so I know which one fits with each hole, and it does go. Whoa. Like that. This is 2. This is number 3. And last but not least, that is number 4. Okay, so what I want to do now is start gluing this thing up. I'm using Titebond waterproof glue, Titebond 3 to be exact. I did a lot of research online before starting this project. I see a lot of charcuterie boards, cutting boards. Some people use various different glues. The safest glue that I found was this one here. So if you have anything to say different, let me know in the comments, but everything that I've read pointed to using Titebond number 3. And of course, that makes it safer when it's fully cured. So not when it's just, you know, a couple hours old. So fully cured. Keep that in mind. I'm going to start spreading that out. Let me grab my clamps and then we'll be right back.
See which way something will go.
Let's put the cauls on top of that. All right, my phone died in the last clip and I didn't get the whole thing, but I had to end up redoing the clamps, and you get the basic idea how all that works. Okay, to finish this, I'm just going to be using a food safe mineral oil. There's a lot of different choices you can use as long as they're food safe. If I had tongue oil, not tongue oil finish, I would use that, but this is what I have on hand, so I'm just going to use this. I'm not going to be using this a lot, so I'm not worried about having to refinish this once or twice over the course of a couple of years. You can wear gloves if you need to. I'm just going to pour some on liberally. The ends are going to drink up a lot of oil right here. Now remember, mineral oil is a penetrating oil. It's gonna sit inside that wood, so it's not really going to dry. So you may want to wipe off any excess. And then I'll just do that 2 more times, and then we'll come back when that's all done. All right, we've reached the end of this video, and if you like the way this turned out, this is the other side. If you like the way this turned out, give me a thumbs up, and subscribe if you haven't already. And thanks again for watching, and have a great day. Hey, this is Gabriel Castro. Thanks for watching my YouTube channel. You can click on the link right here and subscribe. You can watch a video series right here, or the latest video right here.